Section 3.2, Pie Charts and Two-Way Tables. Objective 1, we want to construct and interpret pie charts. The procedure: to construct a pie chart, number 1, you find the relative frequency, which is the proportion or decimal of each category. Number 2, you multiply the relative frequency by 360 to find the degrees for each category. Number 3, you would use a protractor to approximate the angles for each sector. Number 4, you're going to label each sector with the name of the category and the relative frequency. So for example, a teacher asked her class, "What type of pet do you have?" And the findings are summarized in the table below. So here we have the type of pet: dog, cat, other, and none. The frequency: 12 students said they had a dog, 27 students said they had a cat, 8 students said other, and 3 said none. So if we add those total up, we get 50. Now to find the relative frequency, we're going to take each one of these separately and divide it by 50. So 12 divided by 50 is equal to 0.24. 27 divided by 50 is equal to 0.54. 8 divided by 50 is equal to 0.16. And 3 divided by 50 is equal to 0.06. Now, what we want to do is, if we want to create a pie chart, we need to take this relative frequency and multiply each one of these by 360 so it gives us the degrees of how we should interpret our pie chart. So 0.24 times 360 is equal to 86 degrees for the dog portion of the pie chart. 0.54 times 360 is going to give us 194 degrees for the cat part of the pie chart. 0.16 times 360 gives us 58 degrees. So that's 58 degrees of other. 0.06 times 360 gives us 22. So that's 22 degrees of none. Now when you look at all of these, if the degrees is more than 180, we want to save that for last when we're doing our pie chart. So now we have this information. We want to construct a pie chart, round the percentages to the ones place, which is what we did over here. Now, just to give you sort of an example, I'm going to go ahead and insert a protractor here. I'm going to bring that down. So in this case here, I can use this to generate my angles. Okay, so if I start at my center, right, and I want to get approximately 22 degrees from here, if I move over here, this gives me 22 degrees. So this is 10, this is 10, it's approximately about 22. So that represents the none. Okay, over here I have 58 degrees. So if I look here, if I decide I want to turn this a little bit, so I can look directly at the 90 degrees portion of it. So let's see here. There's 90 at the center. Let me roll that back. Okay, and then from here to the end of the blue, that's 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. It's about 58 degrees that's in the blue. And then, again, we're going to save the 194 for last. So we're going to look at the 86%. So then I want to change this now to where 90 is over here. And then I'm going to count 86%. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's 80. And then about 6, which is 86%. So now what I've done is I then created the 86% portion of this. So that represents 86. Now, remember what I said to save this for last. So that means everything else is the 194%. So what we've done is we've created a pie chart in degrees that represents each of our categories. Okay, now we want to answer our questions according to what we just figured out. Part B, it says, what proportion of those surveyed have no pets at home, which would be none. Well, we got the relative frequency, the proportion is 0.06, so the answer is 0.06. Part C, it says what proportion of those surveyed have a dog or cat at home? Well, we know that the proportion for dog is 0.24, and we know the proportion for cat is 0.54, and that's OR. So that means we need to add them together, which gives us 0.78. For part D, it says, what proportion of those surveyed do not have a cat at home? Well, first and foremost, we know that the relative frequency for cats is 0.54 or 54%. So we can take 100% and subtract 54% to get 46% and convert that to a decimal. Or you could just say the following. This would be the next thing. You could say, okay, well, I'm going to take 1 and then I'm going to subtract 0.54. And what that gives me is 0.46. Okay, so again, let's go ahead and convert these to percent. So we know that this represents 24% up here. This is 54%. This is 16%. And this is 6%. So in part E, they want us to then construct a relative frequency bar graph that describes that data. So remember that the vertical axis is going to represent the percentages, and it's going from 6% to approximately 54%. So we're going to go in increments of 5 and go all the way up to 55%. And then our horizontal scale represents the type of pet: dog, cat, other, and none. So now we're going to create that bar graph. So the bar graph for dog, we know that it goes up to 24%. For cat, it goes all the way up to 54%. For other, it goes up to 16%. And for none, it goes to 6%.